Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Electric Vision Entertainment. I'm the host, Aaliyah, as always. Today, maybe I'll co-host, get some guest speakers, action in that sense. But for now, it's just gonna be me, girl who talks about tech, thoughts, and thick hair. On this show, if you're new here, we do this every Saturday, and what we do is we code, we build robots, we talk about technology and space and other things related to technology here. Sometimes we might just have a conversation, talk about space. I believe I did a show a few weeks ago about space and time. We also had one where we just talked about building a portfolio and technology. Um, and then there have been times where we've just coded. Maybe we coded Superman on this show. We've coded just like practice problems. Like when you're going into the world of tech, especially in like a more professional, you often have to do technical interviews. They'll give you like these random coding problems, and they're more so to see like can you problem solve and do you know basic. Practice the few. But lately, as was the goal and is working on robots. That is what I specialize in to a degree, and it's what I really like to work on. And that's the reason why I got into tech. Right now, you don't know me. I'm a student right now, my senior year at make school, studying data science. And while I do love coding, it was mostly because I really just wanted to use the skills that I learned in coding, and machine learning, and artificial intelligence so that I can make better robots that can think better. Um, if you know me, you saw, you know that the other day I made a robot and it like scared the life out of me, which is always a conundrum when working in robots and stuff because on one side it's really cool, the other side is like kind of terrifying, but it's a thin line to balance. So we're gonna be doing all that stuff here. Hopefully we can get it to jump up again. Running some tests on it. It didn't jump up like it was supposed. It did it the first time. It scared me, like freaked out because I didn't expect that to happen. But we're gonna see if we can do that again, and if not, we're just gonna do the other thing. But before I jump into what we're gonna do today, let me just give a recap from last week. If you were here last week, of course, you saw. Weren't here last week, you should definitely like follow us on either the Facebook, the YouTube, Twitch, either way, so that you can come see as we develop these projects. We've gone from like just learning what a simple LED is, just a basic. Take one off my right now. So there's just a basic LED like this, learning what it is and how it works, with the positive and negative side called the cathode and anode. Learning what those are, to now getting to a point where we're working with like Raspberry Pis, Arduinos, and other circuitry and things like this, building our own circuits, soldering things, all sorts of skills that you can use as you move forward in technology. So that's what we do here. Last week, what we did, or what we've been doing the past week or two, is working on this hexapod robot, which is showed not in the bottom of this screen, but you can see it in the title. Feel free to hop into chat as well. Throw it out there. Oh, but been working on this hexapod robot lately, and I didn't show fully on camera me putting it together because I think it took me like 4 or 5 hours at least to put the robot together. And it was just menial brewing things. Literally, I just sat here for like 4 or 5 hours while I played like anime in the background and rewatched Naruto Shippuden again for like the eighth time, and just had this just sitting here and just putting it together. So nothing fancy to look at. I might put out some footage of like raw footage putting it together, but I forgot to record like half of it, so the cool parts are not recorded. So we got it together, and then what we did was I did a quick introduction to the Raspberry Pi, which is and this is the Raspberry Pi 4B, which I think is the latest. I'm pretty sure. Last week we just talked about this, and I kind of gave an introduction of what it is because it's going to be the brains of our robot for the most part. But unlike the Arduino, if you've heard of the Arduino is more of a separate unit. Um, it doesn't require like network. By networking, I don't mean like talking to people, even though that's a whole other thing. Um, by networking, I mean like things over the internet. So you don't have to do that with Arduino. There's ways to do it, but it's not a core functionality. Here, this is a full computer, full operating system, network capabilities, etc. It would use a SIM card, more or less, micro SD card. Micro SD card, more or less, is like a hard drive. And then you can get like a separate monitor, keyboard, mouse, all of that, and connect it to here. But we're not doing that because this is for a robot and it can do it itself. So we had to do some. We did some setting up of it last week. Format and put an operating system on here, and then went ahead and just got the basics set up. Where we hiccuped last week because we could have went a little further than we did. We'll see how far we go today. We might wrap up a little. We're probably gonna only do some module tests, just to see if independent things work. Mind you, I have tested like some beforehand. I know it should work. And we might go a little further than that. We'll see. We'll see. But could have got some power last week. The problem was the battery pack I have. So I have a battery pack real quick. Usually I have parts everywhere. Usually you like battery packs like this. And of course you could just eyeball it and we're like, oh, double A battery. That's what I thought for this robot. Let me pull the robot over here. It is huge. Bear with me as I struggle to lift it and flip it and do all the stuff. I can switch to that again. I was over here. You have to excuse me. I'm not gonna face the camera for a while. That was something I said last week. That was also issues like the camera's here, but I gotta go over there. We're working on that. I'll figure it out. But you see, um, there we go. All right. I don't know why I did that. Glitching out. But so if you look at here, you'll see these battery packs. And when I first eyeballed them, I was like, batteries. Didn't occur to me to double check the specs before I did so. So I just looked at this and I was like, yeah, I need double A batteries. I bought a bunch of double A batteries, but they come in handy. Instead, I looked and discovered that I needed these batteries. They are called like by their spec name. So they're not like double like that. It's like 18650 battery. And that just talks about like the size and such of it. They're really powerful lithium batteries. You remember if you're around, um, when Elon Musk was first coming up with the ideas for his Tesla and like how to do battery for that, what he did was he got a bunch of lithium batteries like this. I don't know if they were these exact ones for capacitance, power level, whatever. Put them all together, and that's big like power grids of batteries. So these are really strong, good batteries. Order some or from somewhere else. I ordered these off Amazon just because I needed them to get here like by today. But usually, but I probably will get like a higher grade one. Just for now, though, I just need to be here so we can turn it on. I was like, I just need it to work for a few hours. So that being said, we're gonna focus on that this week. We're going to put it together. I'm gonna put this Raspberry Pi on. It's still set up from last time. So I'm gonna attach this, and then we're gonna run some module tests. So I'm gonna do a mix of like I need to figure out how to make it where it's like my screen and this. Um, if I can throw that together real quick, 'cause it occurred to me. What I'm gonna do is finish assembling this talkie, and then I'm going to pull up. We're gonna remote into. So, like I said before, for the Raspberry Pi, can't really. So we can put on the external keyboard and mouse, etc. stuff. Monitors so that we can remote in, or we can like look at the code and everything, pull it up like a computer with operating system, etc. But because we're using it on this robot, we can't do that. So instead, we're gonna remote into it. This is where those networks come in handy because you got to be able to um, understand how to find like the different IP address that, as well as um, how to navigate sort of thing, the command line, knowing a bit of Bash, because Bash is just basically like Linux. You don't have to have Linux to do it, but it's basically like talking via the command lines. Like I think I mentioned before, if you've seen anything with like hackers in it, they always pull up the command line or terminal version you want to call it. Um, basically they just pull it up and run random commands. But it's that black screen, sometimes with white text, sometimes green text. Mine is blue. I'm um not consider these nails. Just thinking of putting this together. Yes, we're gonna go into there and run a few commands we can run in and be able to control it without having to plug up like the Ethernet cord, external power cable, monitor, all that fun stuff. The only thing about that is not the only thing. The good thing is it was optional when I was setting it up. I had to like plug it up to my internet via the Ethernet cord, etc. The only it gave you like an option Wi-Fi. Like I don't need. And then luckily I just went ahead and did it because if I hadn't, then I would have to all the way across the room with my Ethernet to connect this so I can remote or so I can interact with it on my computer. Other than but this way, because I connected it to the Wi-Fi, then once I power it up, probably take a minute for it to like up and everything, and then I can go on my computer and connect to it Wi-Fi. Set this on, and then I have this other piece here. Really, but it's basically just an interface, um, so that I can connect like the input and output. It's called like the GPIO, general purpose and output. By my Raspberry Pi one, connect to that board underneath, which is controlling power, the sensors. I think all of the sensors. Yeah, like all of the sensors to that. So based on everything else, and then with the camera, the cord here is connected to the head. So that makes sure it's oriented properly. When I tested it, it didn't work. The cable is backwards. So if you have a similar robot to this, or a cable, I forget what these called. Really don't like. I was gonna call it LCB, but this is not an LCB cable. W. There's AWM. But there's a blue strip on one side of it. It kind of can't like it a little bit. You can see down here. There's that blue strip at the base down there. Make sure it is facing its black side. Side has a little black strip on the base. The other side is just without it. Make sure the blue side is correct. Same with the opposite side of the cable. I already have it hooked up. And then I'll put the base on top. I don't really need to, but I'll just put like a screw in place for posterity. That I almost think we're all adult here, so it would have been fine. Family available for all ages. Put in screws to hold it in. I'll let you in a pet peeve of mine. If you know me closely or have worked with me in terms of robotics or hardware, I cannot stand people put screws in. And by that I mean there's a process, STAR method or something, cross method. Don't put screws in a circle. I just strips the screws, it strips the base of what it's going to do. It breaks stuff all the time. And then it just makes it so you can't screw. So if I put all the screws in here and I tighten them, like say I had more screws. But if I had like a bunch of tightening like this one, these flare go down and the other side will go up. And so when I get to this point, everything's crooked, things are out of place. So I either have to force the screw in, potentially stripping it, breaking the piece, whatever, or just won't work. So you always cross here and that. Side note, just throw that out there, tips and tricks. So now that we got that on, I'm gonna go ahead and power it up. So I have these buttons. Rotate her around. I wonder if it's gonna jump up like it did. I don't think it will jump like it did the other day because I moved legs out of position afterwards. But when I tell you, imagine just being chill and you're just chilling, and I ran a program thinking it was just gonna turn the power on or do like a quick little something, and then next thing I knew, it literally like all his legs bent up and it jumped up, and then it started walking a bit and spinning. I was just like terrified. I was not ready. I was not ready. So we're gonna see that today. It probably won't. You'll probably see the legs move a bit when I run my hand. Yeah, but I have these buttons up here. They're very. There's one like there. Turn that on. You should lights. I have your. Probably won't see that many lights connected, right? Should come on. It did not. Why? Now we're getting into troubleshooting. Power. Why I love beauties and downsides to doing robotic work. It's like, why isn't it work? Actually, really anything with technology, even coding. I know you can't space right now. I'll probably move the camera over. If I stay over here, I'll locate it. So, but that's one of the ups slash downsides of. Sometimes it works. You're like, I don't know why it's working. Other times it doesn't work. I'm like, I don't know why it's not working. It should be working. Fine. Per hour. So let's do a quick check. Pretty sure I know what it is. Make sure everything. So I'm just gonna go all the way from power to the top. Double check. So I know the batteries are incorrect. Incorrectly. Then on the back there's some power buttons. Those are on. Make sure the power cables are plugged in, which they are. And lastly, because it doesn't. Okay, anyway. Okay. That's probably what half the issue right there. Well, that's no. What I'm gonna do, real quick. The only other thing it could be is if the battery died, which I'm pretty sure they should not have died because I did not have it on that I remember. But just in case they are, I'm gonna go ahead and switch them out with these other ones I have. If they died this fast, I'm gonna be so. Not even gonna lie, I'm gonna be mad. um, what I'm gonna do? I mean, someone, um, my other engineering friends was suggesting batteries to like make sure it's Panasonic or Sony. Like, all right, but they're not gonna get here in time for this on Saturday, so I need to get something for the meantime. But if these literally just died over like a day, trash, garbage. I'm after I just boosted them up to talking about how great they were. So what I'm gonna do two things real quick. I'm going to switch this camera. You can see me at over here trying to. I mean, obviously today I said the theme of today power it up. So it's good to sit here for 10 minutes, figure out why this powering gone. That's another thing. And if we can't get the power on at all for whatever reason, then we might just have to cut this short today. Like, because that might be a different issue that I don't know about. It may need to take further time into. But what I'm gonna do real quick, I'll put us on a quick little hold while I move the camera. I don't know. Actually, leave it right. For the most part anyway. So go ahead. I'm gonna do it live. You know, there's off. Make sure everything is. But yeah, I'm gonna do it live because why not? Why not? And that's the purpose of doing it as a stream versus as a video. Actual process happening. Versus just making a video and then editing it and giving it out. Like, yeah, that's nice. Saves time for the viewer. But it doesn't give that realism in terms of like the time and the effort and the actual process that goes into working on it. Because if I did this as a video, it might be like 10 minutes cuts versus actual like let's say hours of actual work. So I'm gonna be very annoyed today after I hyped it up. Especially after I hyped it up. Let's see. Battery. Add on. Then power. I know it looked weird that I do that. And the reason is just because that's probably the fastest way you'll know about something burning out. Unlike other stuff where things catch fire, this won't catch fire. Fingers crossed. It shouldn't catch fire. If anything, it would just make like a popping noise and sell stuff. Because I have headphones. Okay. That is interesting. Why? Well, we're doing more debugging. I don't know if you saw. I probably did it the other way. Route. That. I remember. I said I was gonna mark off my But yeah, so you'll see, I click this button, happen, have light. Here, power, find out. So, I'm gonna do a trace, which is kind of what I did before anyway. Which is basically just like following down the power line. Just following down from start to finish of where things are. For example, I know this is the one that didn't come up. Hopefully it's not the switch itself, because if it is, that's a whole thing that I really don't. Happening is this is feeding from this power cord. Going through this line that I just disconnected and going to this battery box. So that could be that this line is messed up. I find odd and unlikely. We'll have it on. Question. Turn to on. So it should be discharging. Just change the battery. They should be. And those are the only places we should have an issue. I put them in backwards. Oop. I don't think we'll be able to do anything if we don't have full power. So, that switch should work. On this back end. All the way. And then I'll do legs. We're going to attempt this anyway. And see if we can get anywhere. And if we can't, I will just off camera do some dive into this. We'll wrap up early today. Because there's no reason why I should. We have power on one side, so I'm just gonna turn them both on. And I'll figure out later why that's happening. But hopefully we can at least get some sort of some. Hi. Welcome. Currently trying to get this power on because it's one side is powering up and the other is not. And it's not happening yesterday. I don't know what's going on. It's stressing me out a little. Maybe the LED just went out. Stressed about it a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. Reason. But the control power is coming on, the load power isn't. But I have no reason why it should not. So we're gonna just go forward anyway. See what happened. Oh, we did. I think at this point only thing I haven't done is disconnected fully the Raspberry Pi. But that shouldn't need connected. I turned it off, turned it on, disconnect the power cables, turn on and off the main battery pack switches, change batteries, and that's really the only things that should be having this issue. Unless something else blew. Like I said, it could be that the LED went out, but there wouldn't know that. So, like I said, I'm just gonna have them both set to on and see if we actually can do it. That's what I was thinking, but it does. I mean, I did it yesterday. Same batteries. Yeah. Like lithium ion batteries. Even if, because I did get like lower quality, like the fancy Panasonic. That's what I'm thinking, because it does have a high discharge rate, but I changed them with new batteries, like brand new ones on the pack. Um, and then that's when one side came on, the other didn't. So I was like, why are you like this? So I'm gonna try to change them one more time. Um, ordered more batteries. Next week, I'm gonna go ahead today and order some higher quality ones. Hopefully it'll get here by next week. Hopefully, if not, because unfortunately, like every electronic store around me, really just in general, has just like gone out of business. It's heartbreaking. I used to go to Fry's Electronics all the time, but I know they had the right batteries. They're out of business. You can't just go up the street and buy them like a pass. So, oh yeah, it's off camera. Heat it up. Plugging it. I would plug it in straight to power, but it doesn't have a like straight power cable. And I think the only one I had, I ripped up to use for a different project. So they said it's just the one side though. So I'm gonna do actually test this out. Because this side is working. I know, right? So I was just hyping up these batteries too, talking about how great they are, how long they last. Talking about how that robot freaked me out yesterday because it jumped up, but it wasn't supposed to. Like, well, it was technically. I didn't expect it to technically jumped up. Um, yeah. So typing up. So I'm gonna do real quick. These batteries are from the side that is working. So if I plug this in, still doesn't come. There's no happening. That's a concern. Bigger concern. I'll have to deal with that later. So it's plugged in. Is on. Then no, not getting the light. So I know those batteries work. They're just on the opposite side. There's something else happening here. Either that LED is just not coming on and might have just blown out, or there is a different electrical. Really hope not, because that is a problem I don't want to have to dive into. But like I said, we're just gonna go ahead and continue and see if it can work. Might as well just give it a try. Works great. We'll just keep moving. Probably won't do any heavy work on stuff today. We're just module testing. Get the power on. Make sure like each individual system works. Like the legs, can they be controlled? Does the camera come on? Does the LEDs in the back work? Does um the ultrasonic stuff like that? We're gonna just test those. I'm pretty sure. Oh, excuse me. Um, the one that the light is coming on for, like I said, is for the servers or for the sensors anyway. Yeah. So this is the control power. It's coming on. So I think you're right. I think these batteries have already discharged. That's crazy. Wow. Well, uh, this is not going as planned. And the only reason I know for sure it did is because I saw it. I don't know if you hear because I didn't have it booted up. But when I turned this side on, the light came on, but it was dim. And I was like, because the Raspberry Pi also has lights up here. Might as well unplug this. It doesn't matter now. They have lights over here on the Raspberry Pi that come on when it gets power from the base. And it didn't come on, so I was like, okay, it's not getting a certain amount of voltage. And as I looked at this one, the light came on, but it was dimmer. And then as I just let it be on and looked at it, it like just immediately, not immediately, within like a second. I have rechargeable ones. These are rechargeable, but it didn't occur to me that they were gonna die so fast because I think yesterday. Now, mind you, the ones that were in here yesterday, those right? They I think the grand total amount of time I had them on an hour, if even an hour. Yeah, probably not even a full hour. I'm pretty sure I turned it off after. So then just now when I realized that like there was a problem, I had 2 other battery packs that hadn't been opened at all. So they should be full capacity. Should be fully charged. And they were not. Apparently they weren't fully charged. Maybe I just messed up in assuming that when I ordered batteries that they will be charged already. Maybe that's my fault. I feel like it makes I ordered batteries being able to out of the box. But I do have a charger over there. What are we're not gonna have time to charge them up and running. Struggle bus. Okay. What we're gonna do instead? Let's see. Um, or no, I just have to do that because the only thing we have at the moment is that I could show on my like the steps what we're gonna do, but it really won't make sense because we can't really turn it on. So you failed me. I can't even like be mad at the robot because it's kind of my fault. For not checking that they had power, charging the batteries. Didn't occur to me. Now I know, for one, to charge these batteries. For two, it said these are fire. I'm usually not one to leave reviews. I'm upset. But I was warned by a friend, don't get off-brand ones. Like, name brand, Panasonic or Sony batteries. They just weren't gonna get here in time. And now that I have another week for the next show, then they better get here. So switch back. Oh, I'm frustrated, guys. I'm frustrated. This was gonna be so cool of a show today because I was like, we're gonna go and finally get this robot working, jumping up and moving around. It was gonna be great, and then freaking had the same problem as last week. No power. And you know it's crazy. 1 second. I'm gonna be right back. So I'm gonna tell. Since we have some time now, obviously we can't. I will showcase real quick. This book of projects that I've really been wanting to work on, and I had a version of the book in Georgia where I'm from back home, but obviously now I'm in Arizona. So I don't have the book. I was being a little too impatient because I haven't planned a trip back home to get it, amongst other stuff. So I just got another version of it. Because I'm that type of person. I'll just buy different versions of the book, copies. I'm gonna grab that book real quick and bring it over. And inside of there's a bunch of really cool projects for us to do. I know one of them is to make a generator, like a power generator from scratch. I just do that. Since power seems to always be our issue. So bear with me a moment and I will. turned. I have the book. Simon Monk wrote this book. I like him as an author. He writes a lot of books about Raspberry Pis, Arduinos. There's this whole series. I intend to buy this whole series, but there's a whole series of books created that are like gadgets for the evil, Arduino projects for the evil genius. There's this whole evil genius project of books for mad sciencey stuff. I'm down for it. So this book I got because it was like a year ago. We all know what happened about a year ago. Stuff was crazy. I was like, you know what? I should be ready just in case some crazy things just keep escalating. So I was like, let me get ready. So inside of here are different projects for like this one lights, but it's all about um creating your own electricity. So say like power goes out, I don't have my own generator that's fancy or like electricity out everywhere. Then I already have a generator that I've made from scratch. There's that project. There's other projects in here like how to make an alarm system. Because of course this is for like a zombie defense. So you're like, how do I make an alarm so I can tell if zombies are coming? Um, there's remote, like how you can open and close, lock and unlock doors remotely. Um, how to build like communication systems from scratch. How to surveillance systems. And the cool thing about these projects that I really like is the fact that they are low cost and are usually like scrap parts because of course in this situation for like apocalypse type thing. Um, so like for instance here for this project, it shows like all the little you see there's like a list here, and it's like Raspberry Pi, computer, an adapter, a camera. That's it for like that type project, or for like a tripwire. Yeah, it has like a tripwire alarm, string, nails, a switch, a battery, stuff like that. So it's all like really low cost things that you can probably just find around, but you can still like integrate like Arduino's, Raspberry Pis, and do coding and projects that way. That are as big, fancy, crazy robot like this one, but are things you can use like around the house day to day. And they're just cool to have. I mean, imagine like I know for me, I've always liked spy movies, not because of the spies, but because of the gadgets. Same with like Batman. I just like the gadgets. So I always want to be that type of person who's not only just building big cool robots just to have and walk around, but also like make cool just gadgetry that could be like, oh, you know, I need like such and such thing. Let me go into my backpack and whip out a cool gadget to do. I need a smoke bomb. Just, I need a like a flare or something. I don't want to buy a flare if I can like set one off or make my own stuff like that. It'd just be cool to have. So we're probably gonna do a couple projects out of these as well. I haven't decided. Obviously, we're wrapping up at this call this robot anymore today. I'll make sure I have everything fully set up next. But after we finish this robot, which probably be till the at this rate 2 more weeks, I'd say 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks of getting it set up, testing the module, um, all that whatnot, and then actually just playing around with it. There's an app we can set up. There's a just Raspberry Pi, so you can set up a server with it, so that like on my computer, um, I can have the app. There's an app on my phone like to it, so I can just like be on my phone chilling and have it like doing stuff around. So we're gonna just play with it one of these days. But hopefully next week we'll have it. I'll have all the power set up. We power finish squared away. We can make the module work. So we can do basic stuff like that. And then the week after we'll literally just be like playing with it for like an hour, just like getting up and walking around, going through the tricks, seeing how much stuff it can carry, having the video on, having like stuff like that, just having fun. And then after that, the next project I have a couple ideas. There's this robot here, and it's similar in the sense that it's also run with the Raspberry Pi. Um, luckily, looks of it, these also need 18650 batteries, 3.7 volts. Anyway, I need to stock up on those apparently. This also has a Raspberry Pi. Now, the way we set this one up is going to be a bit different in that it uses a different operating system. I'm going to set that up for this. We could do this one as well. It'll be obviously after doing that big hexapod robot, this will be part. This might be just like one quick episode to finish setting it up. And then the bigger project that I'm working towards, I have to get a lot of parts. I also need access to a printer because I don't have one yet. Could I invest in one? Yes, but we'll see. But I do have access to. If I can get the parts printed out in enough time, we're gonna work on that hand robot that I've mentioned before, where I wear a glove, and as I move my hand, robotic arm turns. That might be the next big project, and after that, we'll see. We'll see if anyone has like suggestions, things I should build. I know some people were talking about like text-to-speech robots. We might work on one like apocalypse gadgets. We might just do like a series where it's just like building gadgets instead of working. When exactly do I use Raspberry Pi versus art? Thank you. Glove. The glove will be fun. I just need the 3D printer. All the other parts are easy to get. It's like wire, servos, flex, thread, stuff like that. A glove. Um, but yeah, I need to print out the parts. And honestly, I have the things. I just need to send them to somebody. And see how that goes. If I get them this week, then I'll show them next week. Work on it later. But that'll be a really fun project. In terms of when I use Raspberry Pi versus art, it really depends on what my use case is. So, for example, like this one, it's all ripped up. I don't know if I'm ever gonna fix this. To be honest with you. So for this robot here, I have an Arduino, and that's because, like I said, it doesn't have network capabilities on it. At least not built. You have to put a lot of other accessory modules to make it able to do stuff. So, um, this robot, his eyes, for instance, they're just ultrasonic obstacle detection. Um, and then I need like control for servos and things like that, right? Motors. But there's no need for it to be connected internet or not sending or receiving any data in that capacity. It's just like, can it tell something? It's purely based off my code. It's not doing any like syncing. So in that case, I don't need something like very high functionalities. I just very much in a closed system. Versus say this robot, it has the Raspberry Pi, and the reason is because there is a camera on it. Because it has a camera, I want it to be able to send that camera data to my system. Yeah, so I wanted to be able to send it to my computer remotely. That I can interact with it. I can see it on my phone. I need to be able to connect to the internet so I can get an IP address, connect the IP address to my computer. And like I said, the Raspberry Pi is a whole system, so it has a lot more functionality. I said I can't pull it up right now. To show like visually show the difference. I'll make sure to put a note to do that next week. Come back next week. Make sure to just like give me a quick reminder, or I'll have a note on here so I can make sure that if I see that to bring it up again. But I can visually show you the difference. The Arduino is more just like code but physical. It has an IDE and that's it. Pull up the Arduino IDE, you code things, that's it. Raspberry Pi, I have to basically have a whole nother computer. Like I said, I'm gonna do it a virtual computer, but it's gonna look like as if I loaded up Windows, and I can click around inside it as if it and run commands and have them sent remotely on a server. So it just has a lot more functionality in terms of, like, sending and receiving data, um, like that, different protocols you could do. They said people use, like, people usually use Arduinos mostly for just robots or gadgetry, whereas Raspberry Pis, like, people were mining Bitcoin. They were making like Bitcoin. They like buy a bunch, stack them up, and just have purely that Raspberry Pi do nothing but buying Bitcoin. And you can't do that with an Arduino because it doesn't connect to the internet type of way. You can't have that sort of sitting and just kind of keep it simple. I think that was simple. The difference between the two. So we'll be doing different ones. Like I said, these two, mostly because of the fact that they have cameras, are gonna use Raspberry Pis. That other one won't. The hand, I think the hand also not. I don't think I'm making this scratch. Maybe I am. I don't remember. I haven't looked at the project in but if it's not a custom circuit, then it is gonna be. It might be a small one, like a nano, which has the same capabilities. It's just tiny. So, like, if I'm building a project and it's super small, I might not need all of this capability. I might not need all these parts. So it's easier just to get rid of them and have a small. Versus if I was making some giant, big robot and I had like 20 different motors on it, then I might get like Arduino Mega. If I wanted to look like Iron Man, which I'm vaguely considering making this project as well. Just like how Iron Man has the core, there's a Arduino called the Lily Pad, which is just a circle, and it has holes in it so you can sew it to your clothes. So if you get something like that and like 3D print a frame, put some around it, and boom, have that. So these are all different projects. There's lots of different ideas and things to work on. We got time. I think I will have this show ready. Till probably, I think for now, I'm just say off the top of my head, August. That I will be with you guys doing shows. Definitely between now and then, give me ideas of stuff you want to see. If you've heard of new technologies that think I might be cool to like just get into, talk about either in general, just really like sit and talk about the idea. Like if you watch Tech Topical today as well at 4 4 o'clock Pacific time. Um, I don't. I think it might be canceled today, but it's 4 p.m. every week, and it's kind of like Ryan, the host, will sit and talk about new technology, like things that are happening in news and tech and what we do stuff like that here sometimes. It's like, hey, I heard about this like technology that we're gonna use to colonize Mars. Then I'm like, cool, let's just talk about that for an hour. And sip some tea. So, but usually we do want to build more things. So I'm actively looking for other projects for us. Of course, anyone who wants to suggest projects for us, that'd be great as well. As long as it's within my scope. If it's outside of scope, like if you're like, I want you to build a rocket, like calm down. Build a bottle rocket, how about that? Or someone wanted to see smart goggles. I was like, that's a little beyond me at the moment. But we can make a scaled down version. Maybe after we print out like a cyberpunk goggle and put some lights in it and a camera. So plenty of stuff, plenty of ideas. We'll see how it goes. But what I'm gonna do is probably wind us down today. So like I said, I can't really do much else with this because battery situation. Again, I thought we were I was so frustrated last week because I didn't have the right batteries, and I have the right battery. This still isn't working. But like I said, this is when we do it live, so you can see like the actual things that happen in the world of robotics, where it's like, oh, I got a 1020 instead of a 22B, and then you have to go hunt it down. And I know in the past when I was studying robotics at my first university, luckily the Fry's electronics store right across the street. I'd be working on a project and I'm like, oh, I'm out of resist, or I need this other part, and I would just get up, walk across the street, buy them, and come back. Fortunately, I can't do that these days. The closest I can get is Amazon. But apparently, I got these from Amazon and they failed me. So but I'll work next week to get the right ones. We can actually get this working fully. That's probably why it actually explains a lot, because I did do this, like I said yesterday. I ran the module test and it jumped up and started moving. But when I ran it again, it didn't do that. It like kind of twitched. Like maybe that function only works one time. But now that I think about it, I was like, no, it probably ran out of power. It didn't have enough power to move. Dang it, I should have thought about it. Anyway, is what it is. So we're gonna wrap that up today. Unfortunately, we didn't get done everything you wanted to get done. It's the reality of life. Sometimes you just roll with the punches, you learn to adapt, and we'll be ready next week. So I'm gonna wind us down. Come back next week. I'll have more information about the differences between the two. I'll make sure I can set it up so I can show you an example of what it looks like um, on the computer. You connect the Raspberry Pi versus Arduino. Also have those batteries, so and see what else happens next week. It's an adventure. That being said, thank you for coming. Hope to see you next week. Like I said, make sure to follow us on Twitch or Facebook, whichever platform you're watching from, so that you can be here as we continue to make cool stuff. And also join our Discord if you're not already in there. Thought I had it up on my screen, but it's make.sc. Chat, what am I talking about? uh, make.sc slash Discord. Hop in there. You can talk to me. May not be always super active because I'm in 1,000 things. Like tag me, then I'm like there immediately. So you can always get to me, and get to Brian, get other people at Make School. It's not just for Make School students; it's for anybody in the tech community who wants to talk about stuff. So definitely jump in there, have some conversation, and come back and see Brian's show today. Come to my show next week. Till then, enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your week. Ready next week for some other cool robotic stuff.